ladies and gentlemen, may we turn your attention to the commissioner's box located between home plate and the Orioles dugout for tonight's ceremonial first pitch. This woman has devoted her life to helping youth baseball in the Baltimore area, coaching and counseling for more than 25 years. Ms. Mary Dopkin. Okay, Mary, it's your pitch.
Okay, Mary, fire away.
All right, Mary Dopkin, and her moment she'll remember on for years to come. Right-hander Jim Palmer, starting pitcher for Baltimore. In a game like this, where the heat is on in the kitchen, wisdom so important. A little while ago, Howard talked with the Baltimore starter.
Jim, after throwing hard the first 2 innings, getting slugged for 2 runs in the second, you changed your pitching pattern. You mixed things up. Will that be the pattern from the start tonight?
Well, not really, Howard. You know, I had 9 days off before that started, and I went out there, and in the first inning, I went 2-2 Marino, and, you know, I just threw him a strike, and he got a base hit, not hit very hard, and I got out of that inning on a bad base running mistake by him. And then in the second inning, I went 2-2 on Stargell, and I think the first hitter of any inning is the most important. I didn't want to walk him. He hit a good 2-2 pitch. The next 2 were right down the middle, and I think when you pitch to a guy like Milner and a guy like Bill Madlock, perennial batting champ in the National League, you can't throw the ball down the middle. I changed speeds later. I threw a lot of high fastballs. And I was watching the video cassette replay that I had, and I was very pleased the way I pitched the last 5 innings. I did change speeds a little bit more, but I primarily went with my fastball, and I still have to establish my fastball to be successful. But tonight, I'm going to go out there and pitch primarily the same way I did last time. I'm just not going to try to throw the ball in the middle of the plate as much.
Jim Palmer making his walk in from the bullpen, and the crowd is roaring. .61 degrees, a very comfortable evening for a World Series game number 6. The batting order that Jim Palmer will be facing tonight for the Pittsburgh Pirates, obviously Chuck Tanner going to as many left-handers as he can get in there. Omar Moreno will lead it off. You'll see that John Milner is playing left field and hitting behind Willie Stargell. Ed Ott is back at the plate tonight. He swings from the left side. And, of course, we're still looking at Dave Parker and at Willie Stargell as the power men. Now the Baltimore Orioles wearing the home white coming onto the field. And starting in left field for Baltimore is Benny Ayala. He's out there for a very definite reason. 1, he's healthy. And 2, he hit a 2-run home run off Candelaria in game number 3. In center field, Gary Renicky, also healthy and a right-handed swinger. In right field, you have Ken Singleton, who will switch and go from the right side, and he says he sometimes has more power from the right side than from the left. Moving to the inner defense, it is Doug DeCinces. They're talking with Pittsburgh coach Joe Launette. Steady Doug at third. At shortstop, Kiko Garcia. Howard mentioned him as a possible MVP. He has a sore lower back and a very tender hamstring. At second base tonight, hitting from the right side, is young Rich Dower, who can be very troublesome with the bat. Over at first base, another switch hitter, Eddie Murray, and it doesn't seem to make much difference from which side of the plate Eddie swings. Back of the plate is a guy who has been so impressive during this World Series and all season long, Rick Dempsey. And on the mound, Jim Palmer. The umpires tonight, I think, become something of a story, just as they did the other night in Game 2 when Jim Palmer was on the mound. Again tonight, you have a National League umpire behind the plate. It didn't really feel, sitting at a distance, that it made that much difference having a National Leaguer back there. However, I suspect there were some low strikes that Jim Palmer thought he might have gotten, but didn't, from Bob Engel. Jerry Newdecker at first, Engel at second, Russ Getz down at third, Terry Taylor on the left field line, and Jim McKean down the right field line. And here are the dimensions of Memorial Stadium. You can see it's short, straight down the line. Falls away to 405 in center. The field is in very good condition, considering the fact that the Colts and Oilers played football here Sunday afternoon. Ball is rolling along very well during the batting practice. The turf is quite firm. And here is Omar Moreno, who is 5 for 23 in the series. He has scored only 2 runs. And I think that's a very important thing to consider. And the other night against Jim Palmer in this ballpark, he got on base, but then ran himself into a double play rather carelessly. The umpires walking about. The left fielder, Benny Ayala, coming in from left field position to talk to Terry Tata about something.
Well, Ayala right now, as he talks with Tata, they're getting the band. They're moving them out into their regular position out there in the bleachers, and I don't think it could be that what they're talking about. It could be that there is a hole in the fence in left field right under the 385 marker where the padding is out. Now, what that might be, I don't know. They have a cameraman out there right below our ABC camera out in left center field. And what that could be, I don't know. It's not a television. No, that is not our camera. That is a film camera that's out there. And I don't know what they might be doing about that. They might be making a move just a little bit.
I want him back probably because it looks like he's set up pretty close to the fence. And Renicky, with his height and leaping ability, that's exactly what it is, because they want to move him back. It's a Major League's film camera, and if Renicky had to go up over the wall and reach for a ball at that point, then he conceivably could have trouble with the camera. And after the football game down in the Cotton Bowl, having watched the Oklahoma starting right end run into a film cameraman and cut open his forehead, I can see why they're being pretty gingerly about it.
That's Sue Palmer. She's a veteran of this kind of tension. Not as vibrant in her emotions, not as outgoing as some of the other wives.
Big deal in the Palmer family last night was Jim's 34th birthday.
Can't figure out why the cameraman has the audacity to argue with the umpires.
Well, you can't have anything that's going to overlap onto the field. There's no question about that, because these fences right here, they're certainly within play. And we've seen Al Bunbury throughout the course of years go up, and he goes up over that wall. It's certainly reachable, and that's what they're doing. They're making that cameraman, that film crew, move back. And we're about ready to go.
As Omar Moreno steps in to be followed by Tim Foley and Dave Parker. It's put-up time for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Baltimore leading 3-2. The first sign flashed by Rick Dempsey, and it's a fastball over the middle and into center field for a base hit, and Moreno is aboard. He of flashing speed. When coming into this series, came in with 18 consecutive stolen bases.
But as I said earlier, he's been stifled, they all have, by Rick Dempsey. Let's see if he goes down.
Number 10.
Well, they had a lot of stolen bases on the year. They stole 188 bases on the year, but they have not been able to do anything against Dempsey right here. He has contained him, and also the Orioles staff has contained him. They haven't given him much of a chance to run.
They feel like they have picked up tendencies by Moreno and others on the bases. They feel they know when he's going. He and Matt Alexander, who is the designated base stealer for Pittsburgh. Now time is called as Eddie Murray comes to the mound, and he'll have a conversation with Jim Palmer about just how they want to handle this circumstance.
Well, they've got the perfect man up, the Bucks do, Tim Foley. He's an excellent hit-and-run hitter. We've suggested that he's a superb contact hitter. He has not struck out in his last 159 trips to the plate.
They give Foley room in left center field. He hits the ball over DeCince's glove, off the glove, kicking into foul ground. Moreno is headed for third base, and he'll hold there, and Foley stands at second base with a double.
Well, they don't waste any time. They come right out swinging at round one. Moreno's going in a high chopper, and DeCince just gets a glove on it. That's about it. Now by the time that they run it down, it goes over by the tarp. There's no chance to get Moreno going to third, and Foley's at second, and the Pirates threaten very early.
And you've said, and everybody says, if you're going to get Palmer, you've got to get him early.
You've got to. Jim just gets stronger and stronger, and I'll tell you, if you don't get him through about the first 4 or 5, you might not get him at all.
Here is Dave Parker with 9 hits and 21 trips to the plate. But a lot of those hits have not been terribly productive. It's been a problem. Pittsburgh's had 61 hits, but not with great efficiency until the Sunday game. Nobody out. Moreno at third, and Foley at second in game number 6, and it's hit down the left side. Great play by DeCince.
That was a really great play by Doug DeCinces. That's the way DeCinces can field. He's had some bad moments in this series, but there you saw the young man who was reminding people of Brooks Robinson.
And he slices that ball down the line. DeCinces, a great play going to the line. Parker really takes a heavy spill at first base. But DeCinces comes up in a good, strong throw. But look at the effort by Parker, hitting the bag. And the throw just does nip him, but he takes a heavy spill after he goes across the bag.
Now it is 1 out with Willie Stargell at the plate. Remarkable reflexes by DeCinces. The big guy with his speed made it close. Fly ball will bring 1 home. Base hit will bring 2 home. And Willie pops him up to the infield. In foul ground, DeCinces coming in. 2 out. Oh, what a big turn of events. The 2 muscle men in the Pirate order, batters 3 and 4, Parker and Stargell. And the Pirates are looking at that first pitch, figuring Palmer, who loves to get ahead of the hitter, is going to come with that high fastball, and so far it has not been rewarding to Parker and Stargell nor the Pirates.
That's the 7th time in this series that Willie, with runners in scoring position, has failed to connect. This is a tough hitter.
John Milner.
The hammer.
Milner has 3 hits and 6 trips to the plate. 1 run batted in. 2 down now and 2 on, and the pitch to Milner is inside.
Well, it doesn't take you long to figure out what the opposition is going to do. Moreno hit the first pitch. Foley hit the first pitch. Parker hit the first pitch. Stargell hit the first pitch. And right there you see Palmer come inside to Milner just to move him back off the plate.
Jimmy's last pitch, 90 miles per hour. So he's firing it pretty good.
Strike called on the inside corner.
That's where he wants to pitch him, Keith. Retaining his power.
Boy, it's got to be a major disappointment if they get Milner here without getting anybody across the plate after getting Moreno around the third and Foley to second.
He's not out of it yet, but this young man never wavers. 34 years of age yesterday. Without question, one of the great pitchers of our time.
Bends him away with a high, tight fastball, and the count is 2 balls and 1 strike.
You want to try and keep the ball in on Milner. Milner's the type of hitter that likes to extend his arm. You'll get most hitters that have power. That's exactly what they want to do. Palmer's got a good enough fastball that he can work it inside and try and tie him up.
On deck it is Bill Madlock. Palmer at 2-1 to Milner. He hits it back to the pitcher. And Palmer does it himself. And the inning is over. Pittsburgh moves Moreno down to third, Foley to second. Then Palmer gets Parker, Stargell, and Milner. After 1/2 inning, Pittsburgh, no score. Baltimore coming up. John Candelaria, who absorbed the loss in game number 3. The first game played at Pittsburgh. Starting tonight for the Pirates. Before the game, Howard talked to him.
If there's a concern about you, John, it's your physical condition. Your ribs, your back. What is it?
Well, I've had a back problem for a couple of years. 2 bones that tie the back together need to be tied through fusion. I've got a curved spine. I've got a bone now they found floating around in the middle, which won't affect me. I've never used an excuse. I never will. I just want to get the guys at Game 7 tomorrow and take our chances from there.
So the big left-hander they call the Candy Man is on the mound. During the regular season, he was touched for 25 home runs. He gave up a home run to Cincinnati, and he gave up one in the series to Vinny Ayala. Ayala is batting behind Garcia. Then comes Singleton, Murray, DeCinces, Renicky, Dower, Dempsey, and Palmer. The defense has Milner, Moreno, and Parker. In the outer defense inside, it's Madlock, Foley, Garner, Stargell, Ott, and the pitcher. Here is Kiko Garcia. Candelaria threw 60 pitches in 3 innings before the rain delay Friday night in Pittsburgh. When he came back after the rain delay, he was pummeled. The first pitch for the big left-hander is a fastball pumped in and fouled off by Garcia to the crowd for strike 1.
It's going to be interesting to watch John Candelaria. Over in Pittsburgh, it appeared that John was dropping down a little bit. You saw Ott always trying to remind him, or Nicosia. And
That's a base hit. Looped to right center field. Hit him on the hands, and he just muscled it on out there. And Garcia's aboard. Very much in the running for the MVP.
You had a quick glimpse of white lines out there in the outfield. Those are the odd lines from Sunday's game. Houston against Baltimore. Nico Keith now has 7 hits on the series. See the odd lines? You can see them now.
And the man at the plate is Benny Ayala, who had the 2-run home run off Candelaria Friday night. This man is a power pitcher. He gets going and gets in the groove and is not hurting. He can be really tough. The pitch is outside for ball 1 to Ayala. And there's Benny's wife. Out in the bullpen for Pittsburgh, warming up, right-hander Bruce Kison. Pitch is on the outside corner.
Now, Keith, Chuck Tanner, he's in the same position what he was Sunday. He knows that if he doesn't win today, there's no tomorrow. That's all there is to it. And he won't hesitate. He'll go through the whole staff. Chuck uses pitchers freely anyway, and in this case, probably more so.
That pitch is outside. It's 2-1 on the batter Ayala. And if you're going to use Kison in this series, tonight's the night, because this is the warmest night we've had.
Now, that's right. He's had kind of a circulatory problem, and he said he just couldn't get the field in that opening night game here, and I really can't say that I blame him much because it was awful cold.
That's foul back here.
The thing about Candelaria to watch, John, with that bad back, he really can't follow through much. He can't bend his back. So consequently, you see him throwing out from the side. He's kind of slinging the ball a little bit, but he's pitching straight up and down.
There's Kison in the bullpen.
What I don't understand about Kison, let's look at this pitch first.
High pop to the infield. Shortstop Foley going back. Ball carrying well, though, on a still night. And Moreno waves everybody off in short left center to make the catch. 1 out.
If Kison's hand was numb in the bullpen, as he professes, why wouldn't the pitching coach who was out there with him, Harvey Haddix, have known it? Why wouldn't Kison have talked about it? Why instead would he have started the game? And also, Kison's best record as a pitcher has always been in cold weather, where he's 23-7. I don't know.
Here is Kenny Singleton from the right side on the year, and 161 trips to the plate, right-handed, hit .248 with 10 homers, struck out 44 times. 1 out. Garcia at first base. Fastball is low for ball 1. Center fielder Moreno straight away, dead center, flag hanging limp out there, hardly wiggling. Curveball. 1 ball and 1 strike.
That's Mrs. Singleton. We've reached the point where we better start counting wives from each side after an article by a local writer here. There are only 4 Pittsburgh wives here tonight, by the way.
1 ball and 1 strike to Singleton now as Candelaria comes on the outside corner with a fastball, and it's 1-2.
A local writer, in a desperate quest to make news, decided that Mrs. Moreno was being seen too much. Very colorful lady, very attractive.
Garcia edging off first base. And the pitch is outside to make it 2-2.
Candelaria, so far, it appears that his velocity's good. His location at times has been fine. He's been off a little bit, but he's throwing the ball okay. Just a question if he can keep that ball down. John, really not the type of pitcher right now. He can pitch too many people up.
Hit on the ground toward the hole. Foley flags, can't get it. Base hit into left field, and Garcia stops at second base.
Keith, that brings up the man who started the series with a hot hand. He was 4 out of 5, and then 13 times without a hit.
Here you try and keep the ball on the ground. That's exactly what Candelaria does, except it just has eyes and out of the reach of Tim Foley, the shortstop. So Baltimore, they come right back and they threaten themselves here in the first.
Eddie Murray. Doesn't make much difference which way he hits. We said that earlier. Right-handed, hit .298 in 181 trips to the plate with 9 home runs and 31 runs batted in. Left-handed, he was a .294 hitter, but with more power. 1 out, 2 on. No score, bottom of the first inning. There's a strike. Cal Ripken coaching at third for Baltimore, with Garcia at second and Singleton at first. Jim Fry, the coach over at first base for the Orioles. On deck, DeCinces. The blooper to the right side is going to drop in the crowd. Little soft blooper. Willie Stargell had a long run. No way he could get to it. And it's 2 strikes now. Candelaria holding the edge on Murray. Hit on the ground to the third baseman, Madlock. Steps on the bag at third, throw to first, double play. The inning is over. And so the Orioles threaten, and they too are turned away here in the first inning of play. A look at the inning-ending double play as the ball is hit rather weakly. Down to the third baseman, Madlock. He has plenty of time. He was coming down and on to first base to double Murray, and after 1, no score. Bill Madlock comes to the plate, 9 for 18 in the World Series. Before the game, had these comments about facing Jim Palmer.
Now, you had one game against Jim Palmer, clearly one of the great pitchers of our time. How do you characterize him?
Well, Jim is basically same kind of pitcher as Tom Seaver. He throws a fastball that takes off. If you lay off the fastball, I think the high fastball on Jim Palmer, you can hit him and make him get the ball down in the strike zone. I don't think he's effective, but same game he pitched over there, we're swinging a lot of pitches out of the strike zone. If you get the ball down and make him, throw his breaking ball a little more and not swing at the high pitch, I think we can beat him.
Well, the first pitch was in high for ball 1. Second pitch is high for ball 2. Both teams threatening in the first inning. Both turned away. Hit sharply toward the hole. DeCinces over to flag it and throw him out.
We'll have some answering comments later to what Madlock said about Palmer.
Now DeCinces moving well to his left. He gets a break. The ball comes up on him. If it stays down, it might be a different story. But it comes up and he makes the play, and you'll see the ball come up here again. Here's the difference playing on the grass. There the ball comes up for him, or against the artificial surface. That's a base hit.
And the batter is Ed Ott, the catcher for the Pirates. 2 hits and 8 trips in the series. Palmer is high. 2 balls and no strikes. Paul Runge, National League umpire, is back at the plate. Wind is blowing slightly to the right. There's a strike. Palmer working quickly.
Jim will work fast. He'll get it and he'll throw it, but he has an idea what he wants to do with it every time he turns it loose.
Ball is hit on the ground to the shortstop, Garcia. 2 out. And now it is Phil Garner. Real scrapper. Never left the ballpark with a clean uniform in his life. 9 for 18.
Got to be the best 8th place hitter in the game. You know a better one, Don?
Not too many of them that hit 293 with 11 home runs and 59 RBIs on the year. That's not bad at all.
The Birds talking about changing the book on pitching to Garner, as he's been wearing him out. Little calling card from Jim, inside and high, ball 1. You cannot intimidate this scrapper. Slider is down in there.
Well, Garner, the same with Foley. They've talked about trying to change their book a little bit on those two. They're both fastball hitters, preferably high. There you saw him. He moved him back with a fastball. He came back with a breaking pitch. And we'll see what he wants to go to here. He'll come back with another one. Now the fastball away.
1-1. Hit in the air, foul to the right side, up in the seats. On our presentation of NCAA football this coming Saturday, Southern California at Notre Dame, South Bend, traditional intersectional game. We have other regionals, including Texas at Arkansas, and those horns were impressive against Oklahoma last Saturday. Curveball, pulled a string on it, bounced it.
Rick Dempsey is candid in his feelings about Garner. He's the man he really respects, apart from the big hitters in the lineup. Knew him from the American League, says he's just a good hitter. I don't know how to get him out.
Oh, inside and tight, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Well, Garner just about walked into this fastball. Palmer coming up and in. Garner starting and just about spun right into it.
That one had some run on it, didn't it?
It did. It tailed pretty good.
With 2 out, nobody on, 3-2 pitch coming to Phil Garner. Strokes it into center field, base hit, solid.
He goes on and on. 10 hits out of 19 trips to the plate. He is over 500 for the series, and Dempsey is right. He doesn't know how to get him out.
Now, there was a guy that they really wanted, because we mentioned this the other day. You'd like to get that 8th place hitter. If he's a 3rd out, you really want him, because you want that hitter to come up and lead off, that pitcher, I should say, to come up and lead off the next inning. But now, Candelaria, he represents the 3rd out.
Well, he's not the worst up at the plate. He pumped one to left in his other time up for a base hit.
Sure is a big target, though. Stands 6-7. Fouls it back in the crowd.
He just lays that bat into the ball. He can fool you. Good all-around athlete, great high school basketball player.
Palmer has him at 2 strikes. Struck him out. Inning is over. So the Pittsburgh Pirates get their 3rd hit of the ball game, but can't do anything with it. After 1.5, there is no score. Doug DeCinces will lead it off. You see his numbers for the 1979 World Series. Had these comments about facing this big Pirate left-hander.
Candelaria has proved to be susceptible to the home run ball throughout his career. Do you figure tonight you're due?
I think so. You know, we have a strong right-handed hitting lineup going up against a guy who is noted to give up some home runs. And matter of fact, I was listening on tape at home, and I guess you just told when Benny Ayala, just before Benny hit that hit, I guess you said that he gives up home runs. And Candelaria is a battler, and he's around the plate all the time. And when there are pitchers like that, sooner or later he's going to, when he's around the plate too much, he's going to make a mistake, and somebody's going to get him. And that's what we're looking forward to today.
Doug had a big one in the opening game. In that 1st inning explosion, his first time up tonight, he hits it high in the air to the right side foul.
He's got the power. Coming to the plate, he's 3 out of 17 as the Sly Fox, Earl Weaver. But he feels he's been an unlucky hitter in the series thus far. He figures 4 other shots should have been hits, and he can name them for it.
Lays it down. Good bunt. Candelaria's got to hurry. Gets in. Boy, that thing stuck on that grass like it had feet.
Boy, that was a good play by Candelaria. He had to come a long way. And not only is it a tough play the way he had to, the distance he had to come, but then he had to throw it around to DeCinces going down the line at first.
Not only that, being a left-hander, you had to whirl around to get the throw off and lose precious time.
That's exactly
which
right.
can impel a wild throw.
Gary Renicky comes up, still wearing the guard across his face after having been subjected to a broken jaw. He's worn it all season. Does not wear it in batting practice, does not impair his vision. It's a factor of confidence. He hits a high fly ball out into left center field. Omar Moreno underneath it. 2 down. Batter now will be Rich Dower. This telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball, intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Major League Baseball is prohibited.
When Keith set the defense of Baltimore and talked about Rich Dower, he suggested that Rich can hurt you with the bat.
Breaking pitch is high.
And Keith is exactly right, because this young man really came along, as we have told you, as a hitter this past season, had the most game-winning hits of any member of the Birds.
Ball is hit out into center field, sending Omar Moreno back. But he's got room, and he makes the catch for out number 3. And so, here in the bottom of the second inning, John Candelaria gets Baltimore in order. We've played 2. We have no score. I don't know about you guys, but I've had so many crab cakes, I'm beginning to feel right at home. Very pleasant evening here in Baltimore. 61 degrees when we started the game. Most pleasant day. Yesterday was absolutely gorgeous, the off day. Puffy clouds, blue sky. Here's Omar Moreno at the top of the order with Tim Foley, Dave Parker. Second time around for both teams here in the top of the third inning for the Pirates.
Have a good time at the State Fair.
Knocked down a few corny dogs, a little cotton candy. Stayed off the rides. There's a strike on the outside corner. Moreno had a single.
Now's the time to watch Jimmy. Second time around against this lineup.
Pulled the string and gets a strike, and he had him right up on his toes.
Wasn't that a beautiful pitch?
Well, he not only had Marino up on his toes, he had Dempsey running up to catch it. And it's in
That's low. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the Pirate leadoff man. They give him right center field. Don't figure him to pull Palmer. He hits it to right center field, but he hits it high in the air. Now the wind gets it a little bit and drifts it right back into straightaway center. And Gary Renicky makes it out number 1.
No, Al Bunbury is not in there as you watch Moreno trot in, and there is Jim Palmer. Renicky is in there. Earl Weaver looking for, as he puts it, Dr. Longball. Renicky in left, Bunbury in center is their best outfield defense, but Renicky overall is a good fielder, and Weaver feels reasonably safe.
Foley, who doubled off the Sensei's glove. His first time up, takes a strike.
Couldn't understand.
There's another shot at Doug at third base, and the Sensei will throw him out.
I couldn't understand in the first inning, Don, why Foley didn't hit behind the runner. He got that luck hit off the Sensei's glove.
Well, what he was trying to do, and here you look at the Sensei again. That ball hit hard, but just a nice, convenient hop, and it turns into a routine play. See the Sensei staying down, looking that ball all the way into the glove. Pitch was in on him, Howard, the first time up, and I think Timmy just wanted to get out there and just make contact with it with Moreno going, and it happened to be that he just turned over on it and pulled it.
Big guy number 1, Dave Parker.
Pitch is in there. Now, against an ordinary-sized man, that would be a ball. But against Parker, who is a big fella, it's a letter-high strike. Strike 2.
Palmer has pitched well against Parker in this series. The first time up, if you recall, he hit 2 little ground balls down to the third baseman Madlock. And the first time up tonight, a ground ball to the Sensei.
Let's see if he comes in this time. Nope, he stays outside.
But that was a brilliant play by DeCinces, if you remember, with men on second and third, none out. Doogie going deep behind the bag and making a really exceptional play.
The 1-2 pitch to Dave. Fouled away.
Of course, Palmer. Well, later perhaps we'll be able to get in a talk I had with Palmer about his method of pitching to Parker and Stargell, a matter we discussed at length before these cameras and before the second game of the series in our pregame show.
The 1-2 pitch. Got him on the inside corner. He brought it inside and got Parker looking. And so Palmer now has put away these Pittsburgh Pirates in the top of the third inning in order. Here's the pitch. It was an overhand fastball, and it bit a sizable portion of the inside part of the plate, and the inning is over. We still have no score. Rick Dempsey, Baltimore catcher, coming up. You heard what Bill Madlock said about working against Jim Palmer. Well, let's see what Rick Dempsey has to say about working Palmer through the Pirate hitters.
Bill Madlock says that if Jim comes down to get the ball in the strike zone the way he did the last time, they'll kill him.
Well, Bill Madlock's been known to say a few things that weren't necessarily true in the first place. a statement that he made early in the series was that Baltimore couldn't play on the same field with him, and 4 games later he was looking at a 3-1 deficit. So don't take to heart too much what Bill Madlock says. He's had his share of good hits, and he's had a few cheap hits, and he's done a good job for his team too. But as far as killing Jim Palmer, nobody's done it in the past in our league, and I don't think anybody in the National League is going to do it now.
Well, you ask him a question, you get an answer, don't you?
I love him. I love him. There's Mrs. Dempsey. I got to tell you, if I had a vote for the MVP right now and the Birds win the series, I'd vote for Rick Dempsey.
3:33 at the plate, and the big wide sweeping curveball is inside for ball 1. Jim Palmer is on deck and Kiko Garcia to follow. Fastball bites the corner. That was a good fastball. Makes it 1-1.
Both pitchers, Don, looking very sharp.
I think they are, Howard. I think Jim Palmer has looked very sharp. Candelaria is throwing the ball a lot better than he did over in Pittsburgh.
Hit sharply. No chance for Garner. Base hit, right center field. Hit number 6 for Dempsey in the World Series. That will bring Jim Palmer to the plate, and in batting practice, he took one to the seat.
Well, this pitch is out over the plate. Candyman got it up a little bit, and Dempsey just going right back up the middle. A good effort by Garner, but he can't make a play.
6 for 16 is that man on the series.
No designated hitter in this 1979 World Series. They alternate it. They're anticipating bunt. Palmer does square some. Pitch is low. Keeson back up and throwing again in the bullpen. And it is called strike. Not low, but a low strike. There's Keeson, the right-hander. Again, Palmer squares with Madlock and Stargell coming, and this time it is low. 1-1.
Bucks had their shot first time at bat. Moreno singled, Foley doubled, second and third, none out. Great play by DeCinces, pop out by Stargell, and then they got Milner. A brilliant performance by Jim Palmer, the man now at bat.
Second time in the ball game that Baltimore's had the leadoff man aboard. Palmer's bunt is foul. Dempsey will have to come back. Garcia single to get aboard to lead off the ball game, but the Orioles were turned away.
Got to respect that man. His players sure do. We know of his personal loss during this series, passing of his mother.
One ball and 2 strikes. He's going to try the bunt again, and he fouls it away, and he's gone. That's 1 out.
Well, Weaver was funny. As the Bucks took command of the last game, he was sitting in the dugout. Our director, Chet Forte, took one of many shots of Earl. By that time, the Bucks were in command of the game, and reading Earl's lips, one could see he said, "Next time I'll bunt," referring to the second game and the failure to bunt Lowenstein.
Both teams with 3 hits. And no score. Baltimore up in the bottom of the 3rd inning. 1 out, 1 on. Garcia's up. He hits it on the ground. Foul past third. The ball girl booted it.
Booted it again.
Step on it. There have been some errors in this World Series. I'm sure the weather played some role in it.
Had to have.
Kiko couldn't turn it loose, and it's now 2 strikes.
Really good pitch. Fast, knee high, outside corner. Look at it.
Now this is the way Candelaria has to pitch. He works the ball in and out.
That's close. Just misses. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
There's Dougie DeCinces. man with a great sense of humor, a great glove, occasional power that can kill you.
High fly ball to the right side. Plenty of room for Parker. 2 out.
The thing about this Baltimore team, and Rick Dempsey pointed this out to me, it wasn't Dempsey, it was a member of the Bucks, as a matter of fact. They are a patient club. They have great self-belief. They play as a team they have all year. And as a consequence, Weaver is not prone to any quick, impulsive moves. Never has been as a manager, as a matter of fact, but he's got the people he wants, knows how to use them, and plays patient.
Benny Ayala at the plate, and the fastball is on the corner for a strike.
Now Weaver kind of looking around and wondering where that pitch was. That pitch down and away. Just catching the corner.
I don't blame him.
Dempsey off first. Hit sharply right to Garner. So Ayala hits the ball hard, but lines it to Phil Garner at second base. And the inning is over. Rick Dempsey singles to lead the inning. Can't move. And after 3, no score.
Yes, sir. Saturday Night Fever. Earl Weaver is the John Travolta of baseball.
You wonder what he was doing yesterday and last night? Well, last night we saw him visiting a club with his daughter, who had presented the family with their first grandchild, unwinding, relaxing. He didn't even mention baseball in the 15 to 20 minutes we talked to her. All he wanted to talk about was that grandchild. There are things in life that reach beyond, but not right now. Willie Stargell, John Miller, and Billy Madlock. Stargell fouled out to the third baseman his first time up. With 2 runners in scoring position, he takes a pitch on the outside corner for strike 1. Willie Stargell, through 5 games plus tonight, has stranded 11 runners in scoring position. He is made out with 11 runners in scoring position.
Which is not like Willie, which is what we discussed with him Sunday. You folks who watched heard him. As long as he does his best, that's all he can do, period.
Big swing and a miss, and Palmer has the edge at 1-2.
And still 8 hits in the series. Coming into this game out of 21 trips to the plate.
Well, Palmer working the same way to Stargell and Parker. He'll go with a fastball. He'll try and move it in or keep it up. And then he goes with that off-speed pitch and tries to keep it down and away.
1-2. Up high.
Anything low to Stargell is a risk. A great low ball hitter.
He has a 10-game hitting streak in postseason play. Ball is hit high in the air to center. Renicky holds his ground, and Gary makes the catch. 1 out.
On that last pitch, as you looking at Palmer, I think the big thing right now, just watching him throw, he went down with a fastball sign, and he just changes on his own.
The fella with the mask looked a lot better the second time around.
Milner gets a little feeble pop down the third baseline foul. De Sensei makes a diving try at it and comes up empty.
You have to be impressed, folks, if you remember the 2 games played here with the improved condition of the playing field. And this is in evidence. Doogie going after the ball, the spikes gripping in the dry ground, and a good effort done.
Very good effort. He just about made a play on that ball.
Sort of hold your breath, though, sometimes on those kinds of desperation lunges, because you never know. Tomorrow night, Game 7, if it's needed, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Baltimore can wrap it tonight. And there's the slow change-up curve drifting in for strike 2 to Milner. Fastball just outside, 1-2.
Lord, that Palmer is a handsome young man. You once looked like that, Don, when you were young.
That's foul.
There's a case. Milner so far out in front. You see John just laughing at himself. Palmer changing and just kind of cued it foul.
Thing about Palmer is his absolute composure. How he's come to grips with the fullness of life. Spoke to him earlier today.
Way up.
He planned to come by for lunch, couldn't do it. Lunched with his wife yesterday, both of them. If you can meet a situation like this, where we're going to have a growing tension as the innings progress, if it's possible to do it with emotional poise, this is the man who can do it. Jim Palmer.
He's gone to a full count now on John Milner here in the top of the 4th inning. No score in the ball game. 3-2.
Milner's tough. Very overlooked player.
He lost him. Milner walks. First in the game by Palmer. Here comes Bill Madlock. Well, we heard what Madlock said. We heard
What
Dempsey refute it.
said.
Now it's time to see what they can do against each other. First time up, Bill hit the ball sharply at DeCinces for an out.
I just think Matlock is a beautiful hitter.
Good hitter. He's got a very short, compact swing, as we've mentioned before.
Fancies himself a fighter, but he better stick to baseball.
Steps out. Not quite ready.
The late Don Hoke once fancied himself a fighter. He paid the price.
Pitch is high and outside.
I never saw a man challenge more men and lose more fights in baseball. Did you, Don?
He was in a few of them.
Madlock with a very sore, sprained left thumb. Takes it high. He said, make Palmer come down with the ball and you've got a chance at him.
Well, you've got to, and I think Jim, he'll be the first one to tell you exactly how he pitches. He knows that that's one of the toughest pitches for a hitter to lay off of, is that high fastball.
Suddenly, Palmer is having at least some control difficulty. Jim has problems when he gets wild high, as he did in the All-Star game last year at San Diego.
Well, that pitch is outside. He walked Milner, and now he has gone to 3 balls and no strikes to Madlock, and he wants a new baseball.
This has happened very suddenly.
Palmer, like Candelaria, they're both kind of straight up and down pitchers. You see Jim DeCinces came on in there and he says, okay, come on, let's go. He wants to get it and throw it. He knows what he's doing. Of course, what I mean straight up and down, they really don't bend their backs. They're just what I say, a straight up and down type pitcher. See, Palmer, he doesn't have the big back bend in that ball 4.
Suddenly, Palmer with control problems and a tough hitter coming up in Eddie Ott. Well, there's not a weak hitter in this Pittsburgh lineup. Not one.
Eddie Ott, the left-handed catcher, coming to the plate. Grounded out to the shortstop his first time up. Two for 9 in the World Series.
When you're as close to it as the Birds are, as a team, the tension has to grow, accumulate, inning by inning.
The runners, Milner at second, Madlock at first, edge off. Ott hits the ball in the air to the left side, drifting, going down the line, and it's a foul ball. Long run for Benny Ayala. And the ball girl was out there. She almost made the play.
That's it. I thought she was going to make the play.
Well, I think Ayala kind of shied away a little bit. And Kiko Garcia kind of pointing over. And the girl, what she should have done, she should have come back towards home plate, but she runs right out amongst them. There she is.
Now that's bad. That's bad.
What in the world is she carrying?
She's carrying a stool.
Oh, I see what she was doing. She saw the ball was in foul ground. She grabbed her stool to get it out of the way. That's what she was doing. But she
why
ran
not
the wrong
pick it up
way.
and run to home plate? Stay in foul territory.
I
Good
would
Lord.
say so.
Under any circumstances, a near 2-base hit, a blooper.
There's the change. Nope, it's 1-1.
There is Mrs. Eddie Ott. And you just saw
How would you like to be laid up in the hospital and say, how did you get here? I ran over the ball girl stew. 1-1 pitch is inside. It's 2-1.
Hey.
He's jumping on Jimmy.
Jimmy in trouble of his own tricking device, and it happens suddenly.
Only one out. Milner at second and Madlock at first, both walked. That ball is hit on the ground to the second baseman Dower. Over to second, one. Over to first base, bounces, no. And a good effort by Madlock at second base to bust it up.
Boy, he did have a great effort, and he almost cut the legs out from Garcia. Right now, as you look at Madlock at first base, and they know that they've got to play. There's no tomorrow if they come in second tonight. And he goes in as hard as I've seen anybody go in a long time. That's kind of refreshing to see somebody play like that. There's the rolling block. Garcia, now he can't get the ball quick enough to get him down. There it is again.
That's called, in football vernacular, a chop block. Over at third base, it is Milner now with 2 out and Phil Garner up. He singled first time up tonight.
What a guy to have up, Keith. 10 out of 19 on the series. Potential MVP in the series. By Dempsey's own admission, we don't know how to pitch him. He's just a good hitter.
High pop right side. They'll have a play on that, maybe. No. Dower on the dead run, and Singleton coming as best he could from right field, but it just fell beyond the reach of everybody right at the railing.
Well, Candelaria up next, so you got to pitch this guy, it seems to me, Don, oh so carefully.
Well, that's true. Even though that first base is occupied, so you load the bases. So what? You've got 2 outs and you've got the pitcher hitting, but I don't think you can let Garner beat you right here.
You want to see the improvement in Candelaria's effectiveness tonight. In his last outing, in 3+ innings, that was in game 3, threw 75 pitches. Tonight, in 3 innings, he threw only 32. There's his improvement.
We're in the top of the 4th inning. There is no score in game number 6. John Milner's at third. Ed Ott at first, 2 out. This has been an inning of trouble for Jim Palmer. He walked Milner. He walked Madlock. Madlock prevented the double play with a rolling block, chop block at second base, cutting down the shortstop, and Palmer's fastball is high. 1 ball and 1 strike to Phil Garner.
91.
Ooh, that's quick.
Yes, indeed.
He's warming up, isn't he?
Look at that little fella, the pepper pot, the scrappiest ball player you would want to see. Funny how these little guys suddenly rise up in the series. There's a Jim Wild high.
Now there you see Palmer drop down a little bit from trying to bring it out from the side, but he just still misses high.
There's the Pirate pitcher, Candelaria, waiting on deck. Don said, don't let Garner nail you right here. It may be that Palmer's giving him the hot stuff and pitching him carefully. That nips him in the back of the helmet. Just nipped him in the back of the helmet.
Jim wasn't going to take a chance. He didn't want to hit him, of course. But he wasn't going to take a chance giving Garner a pitch to hit.
Pitcher, John
Just nipped him on the back and then off the back of the helmet.
You know, that's one of those strange things, though, where actually if he'd have ducked away from it, probably hit the bat and been a strike.
It might have been. He took a little bit off of the fastball.
Yeah, if it had been a Hummer, I suspect you'd have had some growling from Garner.
Well, you'd have seen some dirt on him, too.
Yep, you sure would. Candelaria swings and fouls it off. The umpire, I believe, Paul Runge.
But you saw in evidence, there's Manny Sanguin. He's telling them how the left-hander should hit against Palmer. He was the hero of game number 2 with that pinch hit single to the opposite field, and then the cutoff by Murray. Sammy Stewart again. Up.
Palmer now at 1 strike to Candelaria. Swing and a miss for strike 2. And there's a good reason for Stewart to be up, because Palmer in this inning has thrown 27 pitches. He only threw 35 through the first 3 innings.
Of his last outing, wasn't it? Or this outing, too.
Right.
He threw 35 in the first 3 innings of his last outing. But this guy has a tendency to get stronger.
He strikes out Candelaria with the bases loaded to end the inning. And so the Pirates are turned away one more time. After 3.5, there is no score. As we go to the bottom of the fourth inning for Singleton, Murray, and DeCinces, so much has been said, rumored, and written, and talked about the relationship between Jim Palmer and Earl Weaver. Well, let's hear more about it.
Earl, what about you and Jim Palmer? Is this all newspaper gas, or is there really ill feeling between you?
Well, I'll tell you, and Jim is, but I've been with Jim off and on since 1967. And I've had a lot of fights and arguments with Jim. But I had less fights with Jim Palmer than I have with my wife in that same period of time. And I still love my wife, Howard. So, you know, when you're together 7 months a year, 7 days a week, you're going to disagree. And I don't like my ball players to hide anything. And since Jim's been around the longest, he and Belanger, I think Palmer might be the most vocal in voicing his opinions. And I've got to respect him. And I'll never tell a ball player not to say anything. But when we sit down and talk logically, he's always got a good point. And sometimes he even sees my side of the story.
The only problem is when you're a public figure, there's always somebody around to hear the conversation.
How do you know that?
Jaha. Candelaria, who's been impressive here at the bottom of the fourth inning, will face Singleton, Murray, and DeCinces second time around.
Well, this will be a testing inning, one would suspect, for Candelaria, because Singleton does have better home run power from the right side. He is thirsting to break out. He now has 8 out of 22 on the series. And always around the plate, Candelaria is susceptible to the homer.
Kenny hits the ball up the alley in right center field, and it goes through there. It's cut off nicely by Moreno. Now, if that's in Pittsburgh, it's on the wall, and 2. But Moreno, with his great speed and the ball hitting the natural grass, Singleton comes up with a 325-foot single.
But it was a beautiful bit of coverage by Moreno. Look at him get over there. That's where that antelope-like speed is so important on natural grass. But as I said, this, a testing inning, as quickly Chuck Tanner comes out to the mound. Wants to make sure Candelaria's back isn't suddenly bothering.
Keeson's up in the bullpen again. This is the 3rd time in the ball game that Baltimore has had the leadoff man aboard.
Now Tanner just going out and just trying to remind people that you see what's coming up this coming Saturday. Big doubleheader. USC and Notre Dame.
Trojan stumbled against Stanford, wound up in a 21-21 tie, and fell out of the top spot in the country. The other regional games on Saturday, Texas at Arkansas. Both of those people undefeated. Good ball game coming out of the Atlantic Coast Conference as well. Here's Eddie Murray now. Eddie Murray in the ball game has left 4 base runners in scoring position. Pulls this one sharply down the third base line. Madlock knocks it down and throws to get him. Good play by Bill. And Singleton moves up to second base.
It was Bedlin, a good play. That ball could have caused an explosion by Baltimore. Watch it again.
Well, he gets the ball in on Murray a little bit. Madlock comes over. He makes a good play. It might have been even a better play had he been able to hold on to the ball, because they would have had the force for sure at second base, but he stays on it in a hurry, and he gets Murray at first, and Baltimore now with a man in scoring position with Singleton at second base.
DeCinces has left 8 men in scoring position.
Now remember what Doogie told us. He felt this was the night he would explode another long ball. They all look to Candelaria for the long ball.
That's off the end of the bat, and it's a rifle shot into the crowd.
Even
the young
as
lady has it.
Keith, even as he said that, you'll remember his last time up, he bunted. And it was an excellent bunt, and Candelaria made an outstanding play on it. But now DeCinces and Renicky. And a challenge for Candelaria.
No score in the ball game. We're in the bottom of the 4th inning. Pitchers have dominated it so far. Been some good defensive work as well by both sides. That pitch is outside. Baltimore so far in the ball game stranded 2 base runners. Pittsburgh so far in the game stranded 6 base runners. One ball and 2 strikes. as DeCinces has a little conversation with Paul Runge.
Well, I don't think Doug really had a good look at that. He was fooled on the pitch to start with. Now he gets out, and now he said, whoops, I can't pull the trigger, so I'll go back this way and see if I can kind of masquerade that into a ball. But he can't.
That's a phrase.
That's a pitcher talking, folks. The 1-2 pitch coming with Singleton at second base, 1 out. That's foul.
Candelaria still throwing good.
Keeson stays warm in the bullpen for Pittsburgh, however. If he's got any numbness in his fingers, he better tell somebody tonight. One-two pitch. Hit sharply to the shortstop Foley. Chases the runner back to second. Throws him out 2 down.
Good pitch. Had DeCinces reaching.
Now there's a pitch right there, that last pitch. If that ball is maybe from a little bit more inside, DeCinces pulls that ball to the hole. But it was out away, as you said, Howard. He was out reaching for the pitch and hits a nice ground ball to Foley at short.
You see from those numbers, as Gary Renicky comes to the plate, they've been able to control him reasonably well. He hit in the regular season 25 home runs.
Coming into this game, the Bucks were hitting .339 as a team in the series. The Birds .251. Another evidence of the Birds' ability to play as a team and to come through.
Candelaria is outside, but beyond that fact, the difference in hitting, you look at the composite box score and it's incredibly even. 1 run difference.
But that's because the Birds hit when it counts.
That's right. Efficiency. That's foul ball.
Well, that really has been kind of the secret of this whole series so far. Baltimore with the timely base hits, picking up the wins when they need them. And really Pittsburgh, well, they got the timely base hit from Sanguillen on game number 2, but they finally put it all together a little bit on the Sunday game. That was game 5 in Pittsburgh. And tonight they had golden opportunities, but they have stranded their runners.
Candelaria comes high and away, and it's 2 balls and a strike to Renicky. You've got 2 out. Singleton, who led the inning, is out at second base. After a single to right center. That's a strike.
And it was just a lovely pitch.
Candelaria showing a good breaking pitch tonight. He's a different Candelaria than what we saw in that 3rd game in Pittsburgh.
It really is.
Takes a little bit off the breaking pitch. Renicky tries to hold up.
Candelaria working on 3 days rest.
That's a high, short fly ball to center field. And Garner goes back. He and Moreno are doing a little Alphonse Gaston, and finally Garner makes the catch. So for the 3rd time in the game, Baltimore's turned away after getting the leadoff man on base. A look down from the sky. Helicopter carrying a camera at Memorial Stadium. This is the 25th year they've been playing baseball and football, and you can see from the lines it is a multi-use municipal stadium. And as we look down inside, we go to the top of the 5th inning, and here's Don Drysdale.
All right, Keith, and we go to the top of the Pittsburgh order. It'll be Moreno, Foley, and Parker, the first 3 to face Jim Palmer. Baltimore 4 hits, Pittsburgh with 3. Moreno with 1 of those 3. He singled his first time at bat, a bouncer up the middle. That's cued foul.
We must watch Palmer closely this inning, Don, because he struggled last inning, getting himself into trouble with 2 walks. And finally, the base is filled. A hit batsman, and he got out of it, striking out Candelaria. Let's see if he can come back to what he had been in the prior 3 innings.
Line up in the air goes Dower.
He sure hit it hard.
Rich Dower, who is a youngster with very great quickness at his position, just reflexed on it and came down with it.
Palmer got the change up to Moreno. He hit it hard, out number 1. And Tim Foley comes on. He bounced a double off of the glove of DeCinces. 0-1 the count. That'll be out of play. And the second time at bat, Tim bounced to third. There's the results of the first 5. Pops him up, playable. Dempsey takes charge. And that is out number 2.
Here comes the big guy, David Parker. Keith described for you our helicopter shot of this stadium. We would like to have been able to show you the waterfront of Baltimore. Thank you very much, gentlemen. As we were able to show you, because it was in the daytime, the Golden Triangle of Pittsburgh. That shot represented Pittsburgh's inner city development. And had we been able to show you the waterfront, which we can at night, you would have seen what used to be rotted docks, now great buildings, the World Trade Center, the Maryland Science Center.
That is line foul, and the count 0-1 to Parker, who is 0 for 2. He's bounced to third, and actually it was DeCinces making a fine play going to the line with runners at second and third, nobody out in the first inning to take an extra base hit and some runs away from the Pirates.
Palmer continuing to make Parker go inside out, too, isn't he?
He is. He's working him inside well.
Well, that's what he did in the first inning when DeCinces made the great saving play. Could have been 2 runs.
Down the left field line, slicing, and that is a foul ball. Doesn't take much to hit it out. We mentioned that before. Just 309 feet down both lines here at Memorial Stadium.
Don and I walked around this city. It's a place of historic import. It's been rebuilt with private money, almost uniquely. No federal funds, no municipal funds, no taxpayers' costs. Remarkable story.
Again fouled away, sprayed left side. Well, there's the combination right there that kept the Pirates alive in game number 4. Rooker on the left, Blyleven on the right. The 1-2 pitch.
Well, he came right back inside with him. It got a little too tight. Well, I tell you, I was sitting down in Dallas watching that game. I thought that Rooker came out. It was just terrific.
Oh,
He did. He pitched magnificent.
Great job.
So easily. Did you notice, Keith? Glad to know you were watching instead of eating that candy corn at the state fair.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs in the top of the 5th.
Don't give us that Yankee Clay business.
Folks down in Dallas thought it was a Yankee conspiracy because we missed the first quarter. You guys played it the longest World Series game in history. They called it a Yankee conspiracy.
Foul again.
See the way Dave keeps going left.
Well, Palmer has been working him outside a lot. He's changed speeds outside, and every now and then he'll come back inside with a fastball. He struck him out looking the last time at bat that way.
So what you want to look for right now is a tight high ball. No, you don't.
Now that was not his straight change. That was not his fastball. That was that in between, what I just call like a nothing fastball. But if you got good control of that pitch, boy, that's not a bad pitch.
If Parker's guessing fastball inside and Jim puts it there, they get together on it. He may hit it to Washington.
There it was.
He walks him.
State, that is.
That is walk number 3 for Palmer. 2 outs, Parker at first, and here's Willie Stargell. He is fouled out to third, and he's flying to center.
DC is far enough.
I've always loved to watch those confrontations between hard throwers and big free swingers with a lot of power. You just wonder sometimes how far a ball really might go.
This fellow's ready.
He's ready. He's got his glove. Al Parker at first, no score. 2 outs in the Pittsburgh 5th. Palmer just rechecking his sign with Dempsey.
You think Dave might run, Don?
I don't believe Parker's going to go. There's the strike to Stargell.
Willie thought it was a touch high, but he's not disposed to quarrel.
Palmer sets high, gets rid of it pretty good for a guy with that leg kick that he has.
It's incredible. Bucks have stolen 188 games on the season, have not stolen a single base in this World Series.
1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Parker was 20 out of 24.
Did I say games? I meant
Yeah,
bases.
bases, of course. 20 out of 24, and the big guy can move. Of course, that knee, I think, is pretty sore on him. I think he's troublesome by it.
He's a little ouchy out there. And he went over that bag hard in that very first inning, and he took a hellacious spill going across that bag. Oh! There's a fastball. He just overmatched it. He just threw it by him.
90 miles per hour. Comforting thing for a pitcher, no matter what Stargell does against Palmer. For a manager, I mean, to have a Jim Palmer.
Oh, I should say 8 times a 20-plus game winner. 3 times Cy Young Award winner.
According to Jim, at 34, he's only just begun.
Well, there was a time a while back, too, when he had that bad arm. You just wondered how long his career was going to be. But he went all the way back down to Miami to try and get himself squared away. Down in the minor leagues. And he fought back, and he's had a great career. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs with Parker at first. We're in the top of the 5th, no score.
Another great athlete. Did you ever play golf with him?
Yeah, he plays good golf. Not a bad tennis player.
Excellent.
Got him. Well, the Pirates are gone in the 5th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors. They leave 1 more. They have now left 7 through 5 as you look at this high fastball again. And he just overpowers it. Now after 4.5, no score. Well, that might be, but we're going to have to wait and see because right now there's no score. Some of the fans here at Municipal Stadium, you can tell she's an Oriole fan.
We love Weaver. Why not? They've had nothing but success with him. In the meantime, this is a terrific ball game. We had sloppily played games, mainly on the Pirate side, until the Pirates came together this Sunday past. Now, both teams playing tight, sharp baseball, and we've been through a half inning with Drysdale without yet getting a run, which is historic.
Rich Dower, Rick Dempsey, and Jim Palmer, the bottom 3 in the Oriole order to face John Candelaria. Dower lined hard to center field his first time at bat. There's another line drive, base hit center field.
We told you about the way that kid's come on as a hitter this year.
Well, that is the 5th Baltimore hit of the night. And for Dower, that is his 4th hit in the series. As you see Foley and Madlock checking with Candelaria.
It's also the 4th time in the game, Don, that they have had the leadoff man aboard.
And sooner or later, there's Willie, the team leader. Sooner or later, that can cost you.
Now we'll see how Earl Weaver wants to play it right here. You've got Palmer on deck and Dempsey the hitter. We're liable to see him start Dower with a little run and hit. Candelaria will just keep him close. You're not going to really sacrifice, I wouldn't think, Dempsey for Palmer to hit.
Keeson working the bullpen. Tanner wasting no time.
Good curve and a good play by Ott, and Dower could not advance.
As the stockily built T-squared Ott. Watch.
One of the things to watch here, watch Dempsey now. He isn't going to move, no sirree. He knows that ball is behind him rattling around, and he hung in there regardless, to make it as difficult as possible for Ed Ott.
I love Rick Dempsey. I think he's just one of the greatest competitors in baseball.
2 balls and no strike. Now Dempsey will take a look at Ripken. They've got the count in their favor right now if you ever want to start something. Candelaria, you certainly don't want to walk Dempsey. And a good situation where you got to feel that he's going to throw a strike. To Foley, to Garner, to Stargell, very quickly 2 gone.
Candelaria is pitching a beautiful game. It's a beautiful ball game. With the layers of tension now accumulating, inning by inning.
Now you couldn't ask for a more tailor-made double play than that. 2 outs to Palmer, who struck out his first time at bat. Oh, and 1. Well, there's a record. Double plays in a series. Second baseman Garner with 9. Bucky Harris, boy, that's been around a while. Curveball for a strike, and the count is 0-2.
And you must admit, the Pirates are facing adversity superbly well. They were on the ropes on Sunday. That pitching came through. They're on the ropes tonight. That pitching has held thus far.
1 ball, 2 strikes to count. There's Dempsey.
He's upset with himself over hitting into that double play. That's apparent.
He knows he had the count in his favor. 2 balls and no strikes. That makes hitters a little bit upset. Palmer strikes out. And Baltimore is gone in the 5th inning, and through 5 there's still no score. We'll be back with more baseball after this word from our local station.
Attention, please.
Well, there's Paul Runge, the home plate umpire. You know, his dad, Ed Runge's got to be proud of him. Long time in American League umpire. Howard talked to Jim Palmer about that National League strike zone.
You seem to be plagued in your starts by getting the National League umpires behind the plate.
Well, it makes it a little bit more difficult. I honestly thought I threw some low strikes that were balls, but they've done a good job. I heard you mention that a lot of times they try to kind of give you a little bit of both the National and the American League. And, you know, I thought I should have had some low strikes the other night, but the only pitch that I really got was a high strike, something that you wouldn't expect from a National League umpire. I don't really know what kind of umpire Paul Runge is, but I do know if he's going to call the low strikes and not give me the high strikes, I have the capabilities of getting the ball down.
And so far, there's really been no questioning whatsoever. Paul Runge doing a fine job behind the plate. It'll be John Milner, Bill Madlock, and Ed Ott.
But it's nice to have a guy with Palmer's confidence, isn't it?
Oh, yes, sir. Well, you've got to adjust. Garcia on the big hop, and they get him. Now 1 pitch, 1 out, and Bill Madlock will stand in. He has bounced to third, and he's walked. Now, right now, the Bucks in a position where they've got to start trying to make something happen if they're going to stay alive. Baltimore, they've got to start trying to make something happen if they want to end it tonight. We're moving into that manager zone pretty soon. No score through 5.
That's Bill Matlock's wife. Can't believe Drysdale won't get some runs, can you?
Right center field. Singleton a long ways to go. Renicky a ways to go. It'll be Singleton to run it down.
Remember Memorial Stadium, basically a pitcher's ballpark.
Good ballpark. You've got the alleys and straightaway center field, your fields that you try and pitch to. Try and keep it away from the lines where it's only 309 down both lines.
Pirate hitters aggressive. That was the 13th of 23 to swing at the first pitch.
Here's Ed Ott. He's 0 for 2. He's bounced to short. He was on a fielder's choice. Oh, and 1 the count. Palmer nipping that outside corner. 1-1. Very comfortable evening tonight here in Baltimore. Little squibber, and Garcia can't make the play, turn the wrong way. Now Ayala gets it back in, and Ott has a nubbing base hit.
And here's the man in the wake of that nothing base hit who is 10 out of 19. Look at this again.
Second baseman.
Squibbing the ball, and you'll see what Don meant. Turned one way first and too late the other way. But you can't fault him for that.
That was a tough play.
Yep.
The ball actually squibbed it out there instead of number. His ball kind of slicing back on him.
That's the 4th hit given up by Jim Palmer. The Birds have 5.
We get action in the Pirate bullpen. The pitcher spot is next. Garner to stand in. He singled and he was hit by a pitch. Well, Chuck Tanner conceivably, should Garner get on, he might go to the bench here. Left center field, he won't have to worry about it. Renicky right there. And that is out number 3. So the Pirates are gone in the 6th inning. And we are through 5 1/2. Pittsburgh, Baltimore, no score. Well, there's Wild Bill Hagee getting ready for the cheer. There's no score, and we go to the top of the order now. Time call. There's actually no time, but Chuck Tanner's going out to talk to Candelaria. Whether he's hurting a little bit, I don't know.
Well, you were exactly right. It's my feeling that he would have pinch hit for Candelaria if Garner had gotten on, because John, the Candyman, has been super tonight. But he may have gotten as much out of him as he thinks he's got to give because of the bad back. However, he stays out there. Chuck will watch him closely. This is one now that becomes the manager's zone, as Don Drysdale said. His rib cage isn't all that well either. But basically, it's the back where he needs a fusion operation.
Well, they get Keeson up in the bullpen as we go to the top of the Baltimore Orioles order. It'll be Garcia, Ayala, and Singleton. There's Keeson. And the Birds fans come alive. They want to try and get something going here.
Candelaria thus far avoiding the home run. A control pitcher.
To center field, Moreno has to hurry, and he's there.
And as you know, control pitches, as we said the other day, like Catfish Hunter and Ferguson Jenkins, always susceptible. Candelaria on the record, no exception. And here's the guy who hit the home run off John the other day with a man on, quickly to reduce a 3-0 deficit to 3-2.
Ayala has flied to center. He's lined hard to Garner at second.
Good pitch, a lot on it. Don't forget, doubleheader, NCAA college football this Saturday. Southern Cal at Notre Dame, Texas at Arkansas.
The change a little bit low, and the count goes to 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, no score. Baltimore 6.
That's some doubleheader. Southern Cal, and after having been tied unexpectedly by Stanford, going against the Fighting Irish, who have lost only to Purdue.
Jammed him with a breaking pitch, and Foley on a short hop gets it.
They are playing defensive baseball tonight. Both teams playing beautiful. A good play there by Foley as he short hops it. Look at it again. Saw a lot of white in that glove, but Timmy had it. Buzzed it over to Willie, out. And here comes Kenny Singleton, who's 2 for 2. 9 out of 23 now on the series.
2 outs to Singleton.
Another evidence of Pittsburgh's inability to capitalize, but forgive them this time because they're going against Jim Palmer.
0-1 to Singleton. Good breaking pitch.
Well, I tell you, he threw him 2 pretty good major league pitches there.
Very good.
A look at Earl Weaver. Look at this again. Singleton so eager to hit 1 out. It's his only disappointment in the series.
Well, the report that from the press box at Candelaria said he had a little twinge in his shoulder. 1 ball, 2 strikes. There's 2 outs and no score. We're in the Baltimore 6th.
This kid showing his grit and his determination.
Little looper, base hit left field, and Singleton is 3 for 3 as Miller will get it back in.
Eddie Murray coming up. Now 4 out of 20. He had been 4 out of 5.
And the chant in the background, Eddie, Eddie, Eddie. Got 2 out, Singleton at first. Murray has hit into a double play, and he's bounced to third. Both times the double play started by the third baseman Madlock, who stepped on the bag to double Murray up in the first inning. That ended the first inning, and he bounced to Madlock in the fourth.
It was only last Thursday, seems a decade ago, that Eddie Murray went 3 for 3 right here.
1 ball and no strikes to count as Keeson continues to throw. The pitcher spot will lead it off for the Pirates in the 7th inning.
Bruce Keeson.
One ball, 1 strike. There's another good breaking pitch. That tied him up. He had it in on his hands well.
Murray, a man who can be at once a stoic and at the same time a little bit edgy. Didn't like being queried by the press on his cutoff play in that second game.
The 1-1 pitch. Good breaking pitch, and that'll cost him. 1-2 the count.
The Candy Man hanging tough. A beautiful breaking pitch. Look at it again. Candelaria must avoid the big mistake.
Splintered bat again, and Foley goes to Garner for the force, and the side is retired. Now Baltimore gone in the 6th inning, and we're through 6. Pittsburgh and Baltimore, no score. Well, Lee Lacy's going to come on, and he's going to take over for Candelaria in that 9th spot. He will pinch hit for John, so Candelaria did a fine job. Allowed Baltimore no runs on 6 hits.
2 points here. Lacy approved. Excellent pinch hitter for Tom Lasorda and the Dodgers. A possibility for a hit against any kind of pitching. And B, Tanner, as Weaver did the other day, wanting to conserve his left-handed pinch hitting strength. Kent Tekulve working in the bullpen. Now remember the first inning, and maybe for those of you who joined us late, each team had the other pitcher on the hook. Palmer. Marino led off with a single. Foley double. 2nd and 3rd, none out. Palmer got out of it without a run. And then in the first inning for the Bucks, a leadoff single by Garcia, a single by Singleton, but then a double play by Eddie Murray. So the Candy Man sure did his job, Keith.
Did for a fact. Lacy 1 for 3 in the World Series, batting for Candelaria, and .247 hitter on the year. Experienced major leaguer. There's a fastball poured in to make it 1 ball and 2 strikes on Lacy. And Chuck Tanner going with a right-handed batter here. He's saving his lefties for later in the ball game. That would seem quite clear. Keeson is ready to come. Just outside. 2-2. Stanhouse is now throwing in the Baltimore bullpen, but Stanhouse is throwing to test himself. Doctors worked on him the last 2 days, complaining of a sore left hip area, lower back. He's testing himself right now. There's a swing and a miss, and Lacy strikes out.
If there's been a key point in this game thus far, Don, I would have to think it was the 5th inning. Dowell leading off with a single. Dempsey up. 2 balls, no strikes. As you looked at that strikeout again, the runner was not sent. Dempsey swung and hit it oddly to the left side. Easy double play.
Well, that one sign on the left is true. You cannot steal first. I know that for a fact. Well, we'll get into that, Howard. Is I believe outside of the first inning on both sides, that is one key play. Later in the game, why you might see Earl change his decision on that.
They appeal. The third base umpire says no strike. That's what gets of the American League. Game 7 tomorrow night at 8 o'clock if it's needed. We are in a scoreless ball game here in game number 6.
We may be eating crab cakes till June.
That ball is hit sharply to the right side. Murray cannot get it. And Marino takes his big turn and does not test Singleton.
Well, Palmer was a little slow getting off of the mound, and I'm just wondering if Murray even catches this ball with the speed of Marino. Look how far he has to go to his right. I just wonder whether Palmer can beat Marino to the bag.
Don't think so.
I don't know about that, but I think Jim thought Murray had the ball. So the Bucks get their 5th hit against 6 for the Birds. And here's this tough little cookie.
And, well, we saw in the first inning, we saw Chuck Danner. He moved Moreno right away, and that's when Foley hit the bouncer off of the glove of DeCinces that went for the double. We'll see how he plays it here.
Singleton shallow in right. Renick shallow in center. Ayala normal in left. Watch Moreno. Nope. Strike.
Remember, the Bucks have not stolen a single base in this series on Dempsey. And Dempsey's convinced he can handle Moreno on the natural grass and turf here. He wasn't so sure about Pittsburgh, but he didn't have the problem.
They go over there, keep him close. Ball caroms off the glove of Murray. I'll tell you one thing, though. If you see him put his feet together and start prancing, load it up because he's going.
Well, they caught Moreno flat-footed the first time. He wasn't ready to go. Now he's moving off, and Palmer, who comes up and sets, he didn't really set. He came up and went in a hurry, and he almost had Marino napping. Of course, the big thing, of course, Murray missed the ball.
They'll go there again. Moreno stole 77 to lead the National League in the majors this year in stolen bases.
Palmer in a sparring session with Moreno, wanting Moreno to know that he's well aware of him and is ready to pick him off if he can.
We're in the top of the 7th inning in a scoreless ball game.
Trying to hold Moreno close.
Ball is hit foul in the crowd on the right side.
And Foley exactly the right man to have up. The contact hit.
But he is down right now, 0-2.
But so skilled at advancing the runner and so skilled at the hit and run.
Well, the outfield playing fairly shallow. You've got Singleton shallow right, Renick shallow center slightly, and right center field. Ayala the deepest of the 3 in left. He hits one to that gap in right center. It might roll all the way through.
And if it goes through, Moreno scores. He goes. The pitch is fouled away.
The hit and run. You know, there was a day this season the Mets had traded Foley to Pittsburgh for Taveras. And I don't know of a smarter man in baseball than Gabe Paul, the president of the Cleveland Indians. And I talked to Gabe about the trade. And Gabe said, a big edge to the Mets. Foley can't do it anymore. Which shows you the smartest guy maybe in baseball can be wrong. Because Foley had an extraordinary season, and Gabe would be the first to admit it. Hit .288, got that 5-year contract, the new baby we showed you the other day, and all the world is bright and rosy.
Yes, it is.
The 2-strike coming. 2-strike pitch. They throw back over to first base, and again, Moreno has to go back in on his stomach.
Foley is now failed to strike out in his last 162 times at bat. Stan the man unusual. Stanhouse.
That does not mean he's coming into the ball game. He's merely testing his back to see whether or not he can come if needed.
Well, anytime that you keep a runner at first base, you keep him alive over there. That can cut him down just a little bit.
He's going over the mound. And Moreno is at second, and the throw to first is not in time.
So the contact hitter with the seeing eye bat gets away with another one.
Well, here's the play at second base. Garcia's got to catch this ball. He just flat misses it. He's trying to get the double play. Instead of coming up on the ball and making the play, he lets it short hop him. The ball plays him, and it goes right on by.
I think Moreno was in anyway. He was on the move.
Well, they give Foley a base hit.
Of course. Man is uncanny with 4 inches up the bat, as you pointed out, Don.
Here's Dave Parker.
He's having a year where everything he hits finds a hole.
Well, Garcia cannot play that ball that way. He's got to get an out.
Got to come to it.
He must get an out somewhere.
Yes, you're right about that. He could have gotten the runner at first by catching.
The pitch is high to Parker. Stoddard and Martinez up in the bullpen now.
Sue Palmer has been through it so many times before, now obviously troubled. What a man to have up there against you in this situation. Dave Parker.
Palmer has handled it so far tonight. Ball is hit sharply, but it's foul. Again going to the offside.
I'll tell you, it's not so much, Keith, that I believe that he is going to the opposite field. It's that I don't know what he's looking for off Palmer, because those fastballs are on him.
Yep.
They are just flat on him.
I tell you, these little guys on Pittsburgh have been incredible. Garner and Foley. I wouldn't call Madlock a little guy.
Pittsburgh trying to build up a threat here in the top of the 7th inning in a scoreless ball game. And Parker hits it sharply. Second baseman past him. That'll score Moreno. Omar coming around third, and he comes to the plate for the first run of the ball game. Foley goes to third. Parker is on with a run batted in.
Well, I don't know what happened here. That ball, I thought, was a double play ball all the way.
I did too, but it looked like a bad bounce at the last minute. Look at it again.
Dower seemed to slip a little bit too.
Looked like a cinch double play. Big
He
hop.
never even got a glove on it.
Big hop.
Never got a glove on it. Moreno scores. Foley goes to third. It's 1-0 Pittsburgh, and they're not out of the woods yet.
Base hit for Dave Parker. 1-0. The Buccaneers have taken the lead, and here is Willie Stargell with one out. And Foley at third. Ball to the outfield. Could score him. Obviously a base hit would. Ball is hit high in the air and deep to left field. There is room for Ayala. Foley tags. He comes racing down the line and scores. And Parker moves up to second base.
Which is one of the smartest plays you would ever want to see.
Well, Dave Parker started to second. He saw where the ball was going to go. He came back and tagged. He started to second base. The play was right in front of him. But Ayala was backing up on the ball. He did not set where he could make a play to second base. When Parker saw that, no contest.
Remember, the Birds, a patient club. Never out of it. Remember the 6-run rally in the 8th inning? Game number 4.
Pittsburgh will be changing pitchers going into the bottom of the 7th inning. To Colby up and throwing. And now with the Pirates breaking through and getting 2 runs off Palmer, it may very well be to Colby. Keeson was out there the first 6 innings of the ball game. Milner at the plate. And it's 2 balls and no strikes to John.
Well, in all honesty, Pittsburgh, they've got the 2 runs, but Baltimore has actually given them the 2.
Yep. There's Tim Foley.
And Willie Stargell.
Milner hits the ball in the air to right center. Renicky calls and makes the catch, and the inning is over. But it is a most significant inning in game number 6 because Pittsburgh takes a 2-0 lead. Kent Tekulve comes on in the bottom of the 7th inning in relief of John Candelaria with Pittsburgh leading 2-0, and Bill Robinson goes to play left field.
One can't forget what Candelaria did. Troubled by the bad back, hanging tough. Chuck Tanner staying with him. The Baltimore bats still have not hit at all for the past 2 games. And in the meantime, Jim Palmer went into the dugout. And there's Wild Bill Hagee. He's getting these people aroused because they know the comeback capacity of the Birds of Baltimore. But Palmer threw his glove into the dugout. He was irritated that Garcia had not made what appeared to be a simple enough play behind second to get at least 1 out. And indeed, Kiko may have put himself out of the most valuable player of the World Series balloting with that mistake. Weaver with his left hand is ready to come up against DeColby. Wild Bill Hager. Listen to this.
It'll be Doug DeCinces, Gary Renicky, Rich Dower against the right-hander unless Earl Weaver goes to his bench. DeColby making his 4th appearance in the World Series. Gets a pitch in on the hands. DeCinces swings and misses for strike 1. DeColby in the series 0 for 1. He's earned run average 5.79. He has pitched 4 2/3 innings.
There's a little change in Weaver's demeanor. He's beginning to bite his nails.
That's just low and outside. Blyleven and Jackson. Blyleven, hear that, is up in the bullpen. He may be just loosening up in case he has a chance to pitch tomorrow.
He offered to start tonight.
That pitch is outside. It's 2 balls and 1 strike to DeCinces, with Pittsburgh leading here in the bottom of the 7th inning by a score of 2-0. Al Bumbry is in the on-deck circle for Baltimore. That pitch is inside. It's 3-1. Baltimore had the leadoff man aboard in the 1st inning. They had the leadoff man on in the 3rd inning. They had him aboard in the 5th inning. Couldn't get him around.
That was Doogie's wife, whom you just saw. And the wives have the same tension written in their faces.
That's foul. And it's full 3-2.
You got to admit, folks, this is some World Series.
Boy, I think it's been a great spectator series, Howard. They've had plays, they've had bad weather, they've had good plays, bad plays.
Evenly matched teams.
Yes,
neither team with any quit in them.
3-2 pitch to the plate. DeCinces on the hands. Sawed it off. Foley throws and gets him. 1 out.
Well, there's the kind you go back to the dugout and make sure you got 10 fingernails still hanging around.
That's right. All right, here comes the first change now for Baltimore. As we mentioned, Bumbry is coming to the plate. Then we'll see what happens after that. Dower is scheduled up. Billy Smith is a switch hitter. He plays second base. And he's coming out. Smith is.
And then there are Lowenstein and Crowley.
No, it is not Smith.
Lowenstein's coming out in behind Bumbry. Now he's being called back. Well, here's a case right here. You've made Earl Weaver make a switch, and you're losing one of your better defensive outfielders, probably the guy with the best arm in the Baltimore outfield. You're losing Renicky.
He may save Lowenstein. He may have changed his mind right there. We'll see.
But he has already sacrificed Renicky.
That's right.
So Bumbry is up, replacing Renicky with 1 out. The pitch is outside.
The B, that's the sign for Al Bumbry. For president? Well, who knows?
That's on the outside corner. It will be Smith. And he will go to play second base, batting for Dower, switch hitter. He's right in the first place. The ball is hit high in the air down the right side, hanging up there, and Parker's over and has it. 2 down.
Well, there you take a look at Kent Tekulve, and he has just had an exceptional year during the regular season in 94 games, and he'll just drop it from the side, and he'll just kind of underhand it. But as I said before, probably the most natural way to throw of any pitcher that we've seen in this series. Not too many people can do it that way, but he can.
So Billy Smith comes up to hit for Rich Dower as Weaver goes to the percentage game. 2 out. And the Pirates have a 2-0 lead. Bottom of the 7th inning.
And it's amazing, Don, the way the Baltimore bats have been still Sunday and thus far today.
Well, John Candelaria just did an outstanding job. Allowed Baltimore 6 hits.
Just high. Ball 1.
Let me tell you something else about this Bucks team. In a strange way, the tragic death of Chuck Tanner's mother has affected this team and uplifted them. Phil Garner told me about it. And I talked with him before the game. He said, yes, there's no question. This man means a very great deal to us, and this victory would mean so much to him.
1 ball and 1 strike on Smith. Hit sharply to the right side, into right field for a base hit. So there is the second move by Earl Weaver with a left-handed batter, and he delivers.
And now up comes Rick Dempsey, who on balance has had an exceptional series.
Well, here you
Look at it
see
again.
Billy Smith just gets a sinker out over the plate. He hits it by Stargell. He hit the ball well. Neither Stargell nor Garner had a chance to make a play.
But I still feel, because Garcia's not misplay, but absence of play, cost at least 1 run to the Birds, had Rick hit behind the runner in the 5th inning.
With 2 out, Crowley has come out into the on-deck circle in case Dempsey can keep it alive, and that will get us Tim Stoddard in relief of Jim Palmer. There's Crowley in the on-deck circle.
Had Rick not hit into that twin killing in the 5th, well, you know, ifs and buts are part of baseball.
Swing and a miss by Dempsey. And now Jacoby has him 0-2.
Appears in complete command of Dempsey, doesn't he?
He has so far. We're kind of having a little clubhouse meeting with himself right now. Yeah, there's a lot of ifs in this game. Kind of like the dog and the rabbit.
There's Smith leading on first base. Foul tip, and Ed Ott can't hold on. There's your doubleheader in college football this coming Saturday. USC at Notre Dame, Norfolk. There, look at that good one. That's a good one in Little Rock, Texas, Arkansas, and North Carolina, NC State, BYU, Wyoming, Ohio, Toledo, Grambling at Jackson State.
A lot of games.
Check your local listings. The 2-strike pitch coming to Dempsey. Got it.
Oh, did he get it? Commanded.
Well, it's a sidearm breaking pitch, and you see this ball just about breaks up as he strikes him out.
After 7, Pittsburgh leads at 2-0. Back with more after this word from our local stations. The defensive changes we indicated would happen as they came to bat. Al Bumbry is now in center field. And Billy Smith has gone to second base. Terry Crowley was in the on-deck circle to hit for Jim Palmer, but didn't get up to the plate, and so Palmer comes back to the mound to pitch the top of the 8th inning to Pittsburgh, with the Buccaneers leading by a score of 2-0 in game number 6. And the pitch to Bill Madlock is swung on and lifted out into short left center, and Bumbry on the dead run runs it down.
Well, that ball held up a long time. I thought that ball was going to drop.
A very difficult game for Palmer, who has pitched extremely well, in keeping with the whole of his career. A great pitcher, one of the greatest of them all. Angry, openly so, as he left the field at the end of the last turn at bat by the Bucks, throwing his glove into the dugout against the wall because of what he felt was a misplay by Kiko Garcia.
Ed Ott comes to the plate now. The Pittsburgh catcher and Phil Garner moves to the on-deck circle. Bill Robinson would then follow, hitting in the number 9 position. The pitcher to Colby, if he comes to the plate, will bat in the number 5 spot in the Pittsburgh order. Ott hits it on the ground into right field for a base hit. That is his second hit of the night.
But, my friend, Mr. Jackson, you can take nothing away from the damaged John Candelaria, who pitched so superbly well for 6 innings, with Chuck Tanner taking him out when he felt there was nothing more left, and the man was losing it, and the man was in pain.
Well, He had a little pain. Of course, we talked about that at the top of the show. He's had the bad back. He's had the bad ribs. But then in that last inning, in the 6th inning, when he went out there, he felt a little twinge in his shoulder. But he got through that inning fine, and Chuck said that'll do it.
Well, it was much in the same fashion that Jim Rooker came through for them. That's a swinging foul. Back to the backstop.
This game far from over. We've been through too much with these two teams. There's the scoring summary. Moreno single, Foley single, Parker single, scoring Moreno. Willie Stargell's long sacrifice fly to left.
Well, the pitch is up high, and Palmer wants another baseball with 1 out, and Ed Ott at first base. Ed Ott was involved in scoring in the 2nd game. He came round in 3rd like a runaway train. Score a vital run for Pittsburgh.
Then he made a base running mistake in the 4th game.
1-1 pitch, foul back here. Tim Stoddard and Tippy Martinez are in the Baltimore bullpen, staying warm. Loosening. Depending on the circumstances, it could be either. The pitcher spot up to lead off the bottom of the 8th inning for Baltimore. This figures to be Palmer's last inning. The batter Garner out for a moment. Ed Ott conservative at first. Changeup is hit hard to the left side. Ayala over his head. Bangs over the wall. Ground rule double. Big hop over the wall, and he misplayed it. Misread the ball. It carried farther than he thought it would. And it's 2 bases.
Well, there's no question about misplaying it, but Palmer gets the curveball up. And now you see the way the bat hit the ball. That ball had the spin on it. Ayala has no chance whatsoever. I don't know whether Ott could have scored anyway, right out by our cameraman in left field. And now the Bucks threaten again here in the 8th.
Well, Palmer was looking at Ayala out there and wondering what's going on. Last year, Palmer was openly critical of the Birds' outfield. This year, there was great improvement. Most attributed that to Frank Robinson. But whatever, the ball landed about 3 feet in front of the fence.
Ott at 3rd now, and Garner at 2nd, and Bill Robinson up with 1 out. Could be another run here if Robinson can make contact off Palmer, and he does. That ball is hit into left field. On a line, it is caught by Ayala, and here comes Ott to the plate, and he scores, and it's 3-0. So Bill Robinson does his job. They appeal at 3rd base that Ott might have left too soon, but get no call on it.
He hits the ball hard. Ayala's got a good break on the ball this time, coming in a line drive, but I believe Ott was tagging right at that time, and now Ayala appears he might have a shot. We mentioned before their best outfielder is gone as far as I can throw. A bad throw, tailing off the line. Renicky has been lifted for the pinch hitter.
You were right in mentioning that, and that was not a bad throw. It was a terrible throw.
And here is Omar Moreno now with 2 out. And Phil Garner at 2nd base, and 1 run in for Pittsburgh, leading 3-0. And Moreno takes the breaking pitch low for ball 1.
Palmer is not one to disguise his feelings, which I respect.
Well, there's been some funny ways that Pittsburgh has scored tonight, really. That's turned the whole game around.
That's foul. He pulled the string on Moreno and had him off balance. 1-1. Here's Bill Robinson, put into left field, defensively replacing John Milner after Pittsburgh got the 2 runs in the 7th. Now plays a major role himself in adding another big run. Cannot have too many.
Should the Pirates sustain, do you look for Blyleven tomorrow night, Don?
Yeah, I sure do.
Scott McGregor for the Orioles. Maybe Bibby. Who knows?
Maybe Bibby is right.
Well, we're going. A lot of us felt that pitch was outside 2-1, that this could go 7, and it might even go 13, 14, 15 innings in 7, and we're still looking at that imminent possibility. 2 evenly matched baseball teams. The 2-1 pitch, swung on and missed. It's 2-2.
Good change by Palmer.
Earl is thinking, next time I'll bunt. Look at Frank Robbins. He doesn't look too happy either.
Well, Robbie's seeing a little bit of the tide turn right now. The pendulum has kind of swung the other way.
Well, he takes personally Ayala's misplay of Garner's drive.
That ball is hit to right center field. It's going to fall in for a base hit. Bunbury knocks it down. Can't make a play. And here comes run number 4 as Garner steams in from second base. And Moreno goes into second. 4-0 Pittsburgh.
Well, they give him a hit in an air. There's a pass ball out over the plate, and Moreno hits it hard to right center field. Bunbury gets over, and he does a good job from keeping that ball to go through. And now when he gets there, he boots it. And that's where they draw the air. So that's hit number 10 for Pittsburgh tonight.
They do give him a run batted in, however.
Yes.
Mr. Garner is 11 out of 21 in this World Series.
Now talk about your MVP.
You talking about?
He's emerging. He's emerging. Here's Tim Foley.
Here's the other little pest.
That pitch is low. Moreno off second base, walking through your picture there. 4-10-0 for Pittsburgh. 0-7-1 for Baltimore. Pittsburgh has stranded 9 men in the ball game. Also turned over 2 big double plays. Popped up. In play for Dempsey. And Rick makes the catch. But the Pittsburgh Pirates get 2 more runs. And going into the bottom of the 8th inning, lead the game 4-0. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th inning. For the Baltimore Orioles, their pinch hitters in this series have delivered 6 times. A hit by Billy Smith as a pinch batter tied the World Series record. Pat Kelly will come out. John Lowenstein will come out. And here is Lowenstein batting for the pitcher Palmer. Kelly is on deck. If Lowenstein should get the base hit, then you would have another series record.
A word about Jim Palmer. He's upset. In fairness, he has reason to be. Lacks defensive play by 2 members of his team. Cost him at least 3 of those 4 runs. He pitched very well. He's left the dugout. He remains what he's been, a great pitcher.
Tekulve gets a swinging strike on John Lowenstein. Bottom of the 8th inning, and Pittsburgh on top of Baltimore 4-0. They hang on to win it. We're all even, going to Game 7 at 8 o'clock tomorrow night here on ABC.
Lowenstein rarely handled Tekulve the last time the 2 met.
Tekulve 2 strikes. Stoddard is in the pen for Baltimore, and maybe the pitcher. Martinez has warmed up. Jackson and Blyleven are still up in the Pittsburgh pen. And Lowenstein is gone, striking out swinging.
Boy, kept it low then.
Well, that looked like a different hitter, Johnny Lowenstein, tonight than over in Pittsburgh. There's that sinker tailing down and away, and John just did not have a good swing at all.
A year ago, the Dodgers led 2 games to none over the Yankees. There was a man named Nettles, as Pat Kelly comes up to pinch hit, who provided defensive histrionics that was simply incredible. But then the series was taken over by a fellow named Dent and a fellow named Doyle. Does it remind you of a fellow named Garner and a fellow named Foley? The little man.
Pat Kelly is up to hit for Garcia now. And Tekulve hits the outside corner with a running fastball, and Terry Crowley has moved to the on-deck circle, so Earl Weaver is going 3 pinch hitters in succession here in the bottom of the 8th inning against the right-hander Tekulve. That ball is sliced out to left field where Bill Robinson has it and makes the catch. 2 down. And here comes Crowley.
If this holds, what a burden on young McGregor. What a burden on Blyleven if he gets the nod, or Bibby.
I think it's more of a burden on the wife.
And Harris.
That's Mrs. Tekulve. Defense. The game is baseball.
The pitch to Crowley is in there for a strike. On the Baltimore bench, you have Belanger, you have Skaggs, and you have Lee May. This takes care of the Baltimore left-handers, but remember, Singleton and Murray and Smith all turn around. One ball and one strike. Right in there. It's 1-2.
This was the young man who held his head low just a few days ago. He had been rocked by Lowenstein and Crowley.
Little bleeder past the mound. Garner flips to first. They get him. The 3 pinch batters that Earl Weaver sends to the plate in the bottom of the 8th inning are retired in succession. Lowenstein, Kelly, and Crowley. We've played 8 innings of baseball in Baltimore. In game number 6, Pittsburgh leading 4-0. Trying to take it to game 7.
There's the helicopter shot. There are the yard lines. Earl Campbell is not roaming. He did that last Sunday. We may never go home. It is 4-0 Pittsburgh. We're coming to the top of the 9th. Lowenstein has been put into left field. Earl Weaver and Belanger is at shortstop in place of Garcia. Earl Weaver has used up his left-handed relievers. Stoddard is on the mound. Mr. Jackson is ready. And Keith, call Turi and tell her to keep the coffee warm.
I got to go through South Bend before I get back to Sherman Oaks. Dave Parker, Willis Stargell, and the pitcher spot to Colby.
About 4 solid days of rain would be fitting right now, wouldn't it?
Hush. You just hush.
Yeah, Chuck Tanner coming out. He wants to check with Runge and make sure that he's got the same lineup that the umpire has. He wants to know where Weaver inserted his players.
He's got a right to know.
Oh, yeah. You'd like to if you've got to make some moves.
All right, the big guy from NC State is up there, Tim Stoddard, who has bullets when he's right. And Dave Parker hits it high in the air to left center field. Bumbry backhands it. And you've got 1 out on 1 pitch.
Parker just missed that. He was looking fastball all the way, and he got it out on the end of the bat.
Stoddard was the winning pitcher in game number 4.
He was also the winning hitter.
Yes, he was. First hit in organized baseball as a pro.
Oh, how a couple of days can change things.
Here's Wilbur. Strike. Willie tonight, colored, but he does have a sacrifice fly to knock in a run. Sawed him off on that one. He's go back and get himself a new piece of lumber.
He's going to go find one with a new handle in it. I'll tell you, we're talking about records and everything like that we've had here in the World Series. I think we've had a record for bats that have blown up.
Oh, we really have had some splinters flying.
Oh, they've been all over. They have, some of them haven't even made good kindling wood.
My first game here, I didn't have any heat. I was taking some of it home. Still warm.
Don't forget, folks, this Saturday, what a doubleheader. USC at Notre Dame, and USC proved to be not invincible by being tied by Stanford in a terrific second half display. And among the regionals, Texas at Arkansas. Grambling at Jackson State, Ohio U, Toledo. Got a great schedule.
Two-strike pitch to Stargell is hit high in the air to left field. Lowenstein going back to the track and makes the catch. 2 down in the top of the 9th inning. Pittsburgh leading 4-0. Stays this way. We'll play 7 tomorrow night at 8 o'clock Eastern time.
Hope you get to South Bend on time.
It's becoming a sincere problem. Not enough airplane seats to go around on some routes these days.
Dallas, South Bend,
Chuck Howard and I, we'll get the wagon. We'll go.
Baltimore, Pittsburgh.
Sooner or later, I'll get everywhere, I reckon.
Yeah, but this Baltimore team has worked miracles all year long.
Yes, they have. Stoddard throwing heat.
Which is what they'll need now.
2 balls and no strikes. Got a crafty young pitcher out there tomorrow night for them, Scott McGregor. Stoddard whistles it in for a strike.
He's still throwing hard. 90 mile an hour, that last one.
You're impressed with him, aren't you, Don?
I do. I've liked him since I first saw him this year.
He isn't fiddling around with Tekulve.
No, he don't fiddle around with anybody. He comes right at you.
You like him because he's built like you. The difference is he can hit.
Well, look at this. Tekulve puts it in the hole on the right side. Makes Stoddard get off the mound to make the play. But sides retired in order. Stoddard does his job. Last chance coming up for the Orioles. Back after this message and a word from our local station. Here we go with the last chance for the Baltimore Orioles in game number 6 with Singleton, Murray, DeCinces. That's the heart of your batting order. That's Singleton, who hit 35 home runs during the regular season. That's Murray, who hit 25 home runs. And DeCinces, who had 16 home runs. 2 of them will hit from the left side against the right-hander Tekulve. He's trying to sit on this game and make John Candelaria the winner and Jim Palmer the loser and take us to 7.
Last World Series shutout was by Luis Diaz against Cincinnati, 1975. We come to the last and 9th. Remember World Series history. If the Bucks sustain, only 3 teams have ever come from a 3-1 deficit to win it.
Tekulve missed. Oh, he caught the corner.
Those 3 teams, the Tigers against the Cards in 68, the Yanks against the Braves in 58.
That's low.
And these same Bucks against the then Washington Senators in 1925.
Ball got loose. Skinny laughing.
The ball hit Ken's bat on that last one and rolled out there.
Going into this game, Palmer against Candelaria. What would you really have given for the chances of the Bucks? Candelaria having been wrecked up in an earlier game, working on 3 days rest only.
The 1-1 pitch to Kenny is fouled away.
And with a damaged back, but worked 6 brilliant innings. You can't give him enough credit. Palmer victimized by Garcia and Ayala. Palmer himself pitching very effectively. But it's 4-0 Bucks.
Swing and a miss on a pitch thrown right through the hands. And Singleton strikes out.
Tekulve came up on that breaking pitch and just tied him up. As you take another look now here, watch Kent come up on it. He gets his arm high. The breaking pitch ties Singleton up inside. Look at that. See Kenny dragging his hands right in around his waist.
He's probably startled to see Tekulve up that high with a release.
That's right.
Well, it's a little different Tekulve from the last time we saw him.
I tell you, this series is seesawed back and forth so many ways, it's unbelievable.
Time called Frisbee on the field. Eddie Murray, the hitter for Baltimore. DeCinces on deck.
You know, conceivably, Baltimore could have won it in 4. And on the other hand, Pittsburgh could have come back here to Baltimore 3 games on top, 3-2. Instead, they're down 2-3, and right now in the process of evening it up at 3.
But defensive mistakes have played such a big part throughout the series, tonight included.
Right.
Yes, they have.
Ball one.
Game right now, to me, ought to be scoreless.
That ball is hit high in the air to the right side. Room for Dave Parker. 2 out. Now Jacoby is 1 out away from taking us to game number 7. And in team sport, it's always defense that you start with.
What was that? The whistle?
No,
Mrs. Moreno is not here tonight.
Well, it will be a gripper tomorrow night at 8 Eastern time. As 2 gutty, talented, tough baseball teams square off in game number 7. Jacoby pitches to DeCinces. He needs 1 out. He's got strike 1 on Doug.
What is that man thinking now?
He's got strike 2 on DeCinces.
There's Kiko Garcia. Earl Weaver may be thinking about a bunt.
Possibly. I bet he is, and I bet he's thinking about tomorrow night.
Yeah.
2-strike pitch. Swing and a miss. The game is over. Jacoby slams the door on Baltimore. John Candelaria is brilliant as he pitched 6 innings. He gets the win. Jim Palmer takes the loss. And the Pittsburgh Pirates have fought back to make it all even after 6 games.
We will join the National Hockey League season, ladies and gentlemen. But it was a brilliant baseball game in many respects. Certainly on the part of the Pittsburgh Pirates, the Birds of Baltimore with Palmer hanging in there. But suddenly the Birds are not hitting, and that's what Weaver has to think about. 1 run on Sunday, no runs tonight. The first shutout in the World Series since '75.